Good evening and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness. Last night we watched episode 9 of Lovecraft Country and we're ready to discuss. Remember, there will be major spoilers in this episode. Comment at the bottom if you want to give us your opinion, or you can get us on Discord, and we've got a chat room there specifically for this. Tonight our participants will be Wayne Worthy, John Dos Passos, and Josh Harwood. So let's begin. Very quick overall impressions. I liked the episode. Not my favorite episode, but good episode.
I think it was a solid episode. Again, not my favorite.
Not my favorite either.
I put this up there with like episode 2 as far as ranking goes.
Well, we got information. Really
yeah. I mean, there was a lot that went on in this particular episode. Hippolyta, we got her coming back.
Yes, yeah.
But not in time. You know, had she come back like an episode ago, Dee might not have been in the predicament she was in.
Well, unless maybe the whole point
was
to come back and save her so that we don't know what her grasp of time and space is anymore.
Right. That was,
Very true.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I did like the point where she was like, look, this isn't an easy calculation. There's millions of billions of different variations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
And she brought up the term
right
multiverse.
Yeah.
I believe.
The right one at the right time.
And I think we were saying earlier, I mean, I like this one a lot as well. I like this one as well. We were just saying that there was a lot of really good episodes that we liked a lot. And so this wasn't our favorite compared to those that we've seen, but I still like it.
It was still a good episode.
I think it was a solid episode.
Me too.
I don't think that it dragged at all.
No. In fact, I think...
Very well paced.
As a standalone episode, I think it's a decent episode.
Yeah.
Standalone. If I were to watch that as a primer to this particular universe, I wouldn't be disappointed. I would think that, wow, this is a solid episode.
So...
But in comparison to everything else,
the episode starts where it ended in the last one with Dee possessed by the Topsy monster, and the characters, their only choice was to talk to Brainwave, Christina.
Yeah,
and
which I thought was a nice little, like, these guys are so into it, but they're so. They're so in the shit that they're like, they can't do anything but go to Christina. She's got them in that position where she's their only hope of.
She has them exactly where she wants them.
Right in her palm of her hand.
Montrose is like, how dare you go to a Braithwaite?
Yeah.
I mean, up to the point where she got Atticus to commit to coming willingly.
Yeah.
During the equinox. So.
Yeah.
And then Hippolyta shows up, which was awesome. And she just walks in the front door.
Yeah.
And
nothing's wrong.
What's strange is, like, she's not... You would think that she comes back because she says, I need to protect my daughter. And you would think that she would see her daughter in that state and, like, immediately flip out. But no, she's, like, on point. It's like, all right, well, we need to travel back into time and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like she didn't have it together, which is really interesting. And I'm wondering if it's just her strength in character, or did she travel throughout the multiverse and she knows something that everybody else doesn't know?
Well, I suppose we can assume that she knows a lot.
Yeah, she implied that for sure.
Yeah. Or since she does have the power to travel back in time, if they fail, she can go back into time and fix it.
There's all sorts of time paradox problems with that.
And then you just create more links in this multiverse.
Yep.
And then you just end up with even more problems than you
interlinked.
Well, and if you go by the that old lousy movie, the Time Machine, not the old one, that one's the best one, but the newer version of it, your motivation can't be to go back and fix something that's already happened, because you wouldn't be able to go back and fix it.
Oh, because of
if it didn't already happen.
Right.
So,
huh.
But if Hippolyta says to them, you have to go back in time and get that book,
which she did.
That's exactly what they did.
We'll touch. I want to.
Well, that still breaks the paradox.
Well, there's still some paradoxes.
Oh, well, 100% there is. So I guess we'll try to go through the episode like we usually do. So they get to the. We were talking about it earlier. So they get there, and there's a very nice line of Hippolyta about the motherboard, right? And she's the motherboard.
Like, this machine is missing a motherboard.
Yeah,
like, what the hell is a motherboard?
Yeah, and there's some very like Tesla, like, weird, zany, like, shockiness that's going on with her body, and she's sort of, plugged into it, and she is like the connecting circuit, battery, motherboard piece, and she's able to open the portal, which I think is really cool. An interesting way of doing it, and I liked it. I really liked the way that the portal effect was done. I thought that was very well shot.
I actually feel like that would be Lovecraftian in a sense. It's not going to be like a magical portal opens up. You would have to actually hook it up to your body. Your body has to be altered by the other things, And it felt really Lovecraftian and Tesla as well. So
I liked it.
Let's go back just a little bit, because it starts with the girl possessed and them deciding what they have to do. But we also get Christina
going to Lancaster,
telling them that she needs to go take care of something.
Right.
And despite the fact that Lancaster was torn to pieces in the street, we find him back in the...
We do see the body, though. We do see the torn to pieces body
right
on the table, which is nice. That's nice.
And he has the ability to regenerate, except that for some reason it's not working, which is delightful. And then William shows up, who's really Christina.
Yeah.
And he says, what was the line that he says? No, my desire was to see you die 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But I'll settle for just the once. Yeah. And I was wondering if she went there because was that it? Or did she need something from him?
She picked up that device that she had Ruby put into her. And put into
correct
right
before. And she said something to the effect like it's something that can protect, but it could also reverse protection or something.
Right. She had Ruby put that in there in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe I misunderstood her, that she needed something from him because he's the one who had put the curse on the girl.
Oh, I don't know, and I don't know if that was her intention. I'm starting to get the feeling that Christina is going to be interesting if she doesn't die in the next episode, and they do have another season. She may be an interesting reoccurring character, because right now, like in the last episode, she did the thing where she took off the curse to feel what Emmett Till felt during his last moments. I'm wondering if that's going to spark some empathy, specifically with this particular family. So I think she actually has actual feelings for Ruby. And I think you guys brought it up. Like it looks like she's starting up this like Supergirl's posse. She's given Letitia invulnerability. She's given Ruby like a way to transform. It could all be because, hey, I want to have these people under me so that when I need them to do whatever I need them to do, they'll be able to do it and they'll have the means to do it. But I'm also going to reward them by giving them something that they would want or that's beneficial to them.
Hopefully it gives us a really nice ending that can be turned into a second season.
Yes.
I'd probably watch another season.
Oh, I would definitely.
Though I have a feeling that the next season would be quite a different flavor, just because this was very specific. You'd probably have somebody else doing the next season.
It would be interesting.
Going off book, wouldn't they? So
it would be interesting to like fast forward into time to see Atticus's son, and maybe if she's around, I believe that she may be around.
Realistically, they could. It would be a bit of a cop out, but they could realistically turn it into an anthology series.
Yeah,
it could be a completely different.
I mean, HBO has done it before with True Detectives, and it's worked out 2 out of 3 times.
So then they get her to the observatory, and we can see that there was something wrong with her arm.
Yeah,
yes, she had
infection.
Did Christina fix that, or?
Yeah, she did. She reversed it.
Oh, yes.
She said that it will come back after a while.
Right.
You only kind of like reset it to the beginning point of it, of the curse. So.
All right, so they got her there, and then we did the time traveling thing, which I thought was interesting because now we got to see Montrose completely hesitating, and we got to see Atticus misunderstanding that hesitation for drunkenness.
Well, he was a little.
It was liquid courage for him to go back into like facing that, because it wasn't just his father, but we find out later on he loses somebody else. So
correct, yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Gods and Monsters. It was with Ian McKellen and Brendan Fraser.
No.
No. We'll talk about that afterwards then. But it reminded me because it's I'll talk about it. I don't want to spoil that movie. Maybe, I don't know if you'd ever watch it or not, but there's a very strong correlation between that and Montrose and Atticus. What seemed to be going on. Atticus really didn't understand Montrose, and Montrose was facing the moment that destroyed his fucking life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Here's my question though. So like, they know that they had to go back in time to get this book, right? Couldn't they have traveled like a week before Tulsa got bombed, and then sat down and actually talked to the family and explained that whole thing, and they would have had time to do whatever they were going to do? And it might have been a thing where it was just like, well, do I actually tell them that, hey, be out of town in 2 weeks or whatever? I mean, that could have worked, but
too easy.
The difficulty was Hippolyta. She had to focus on. Didn't they give her pictures?
Yeah, they did actually. You're right.
And she was trying to locate the exact moment. And there was something about that. So it focused in on that particular event.
That point in time. And
obviously, like you say, they could have gone back a week earlier, but there was nothing to focus on. So.
Right. True.
No, that was, and of course there wouldn't be much of a show.
Right.
There was something that it reminded me of, because, we got a lot of these biblical references in here. And Christina is now looking to become immortal. So I was thinking today, when you read the book of Genesis, God throws Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden specifically so that they don't get to the tree of life and eat from it and live forever. And I couldn't find a reference in the Bible, but there's a reference in something that says the reason God did that is because if man was sinful and he lived forever, he would become worse than the demons. So the idea that Christina wants to get to the tree of life, so to speak, and become immortal, that might be a really bad thing. Because you don't get better, you get worse as time goes on. Death is the gift. It's the gift that keeps you from becoming a monster.
Well, I think also we've got sort of this awkward situation where, similar to some of the Star Wars movies and such, it's like, well, we're getting to the end of the story here. We're running out of characters. Where's the conflict going to come from? Who's going to end up as the villain in the end here?
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're doing stories differently, especially now, you're going to sympathize with that villain, or make that villain sympathetic. So, for an example, the fact that it seems like she's having feelings for Ruby, the fact that she took her immunity off and felt what it felt like to be a victim. I'm wondering if that's going to change her character a bit, or
maybe.
I mean, if not, then why do that in the first place?
Right.
Of course, just because you try to understand doesn't mean that you succeed in understanding. Christina could be trying to understand, but it's beyond her. The other reason I brought that up, now that I think of it, is you all play video games.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that you play the video game for a while, and then you find the cheat codes, and then you cheat because it's fun to cheat and so forth. But
sometimes
magic in this story is the cheat code, because if you can walk into a situation and you are invulnerable, bullets bounce off of you, fire, explosions all around you, nothing's happening to you, then what's the point? I mean, it's like, yay, and I think Christina's gone the step beyond that. She's cheated it so much, the game is meaningless to her. Living and dying means nothing.
And then why go for immortality then?
Well, that might be just it. She still thinks that getting all the cheat codes is what she wants. I mean, we're guilty of that. We all do that. And the thing is that once you've got all the cheat codes, you play it for a little bit and then you go, it's boring.
Could be cliche. Maybe the thing that she wants is love. Just some form of love. Or to feel something.
It's not what we all want.
No, but it's a cliche, bro, isn't it?
Yeah, but
cliche. It's not what.
Speaking of,
it's not really cliche. It's just pretty much what everybody wants. It's just that people don't really get there, and that's the big conflict with most people when it comes to that.
I think that what Christina is promoting is she wants control of her own destiny. And
also offering
she's not
the same thing.
She's not black, but she's a woman.
Right.
And women often have the same feelings because they're oppressed in that society. And so the black woman gets to be a white woman. She gets to escape that. The white woman gets to escape and become a man.
Mm-hmm.
And
actually offer Ruby that too. Like, hey, if you ever want to become a man, it's here. Like she's offering you this sort of freedom.
If she, teaches her how to brew that potion.
I think she was offering the William potion too. I think.
Yeah.
But you could literally become anyone you wanted. You just got to get some of their blood and.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you couldn't keep it up unless you had a situation like she has.
No. But imagine being a spy.
You know what's strange? I know, right? I thought about this the other day when I was watching. I was like, wait a minute. This is kind of unique, but is this just the polyjuice potion from Harry Potter, but like turned up to the Cthulhu mythos?
That's exactly what I was just
thinking. Yeah, it's just like, is this like the polyjuice potion just dialed up? But
it's classic in magic, the idea of being able to appear as somebody else. We go right back to Dungeons and Dragons. You're gonna have.
So when they get to Tulsa, one of the first things they see, which I think was an important scene, is they see, Montrose and George and their dad, and also their next door neighbor, which I believe is Atticus's mom. What was her name? Dora? What was her name?
I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that, Dora or something, or Donna, or I'm sorry, I feel bad. They just mentioned it like once. Yeah, she's in there only for a few minutes. And Atticus is like, Mom, And I think because it was they were getting ready for the prom before it got canceled, and Montrose put on, I believe he was playing with the suit jacket and put the flower in his hair, I guess.
Yeah, and his father caught him.
Yeah,
beat the crap out of him with
a stick
off the tree.
Yeah.
You know, I knew the second that the old lady was in the room with Letitia, I'm like, we're going to watch her burn to death, aren't we?
Oof, yeah.
I was waiting. I was like, this show has to show the gore of somebody actually burning to death. Actually, I thought she went out pretty well because she didn't. I mean, I wouldn't just stand there holding somebody's hands. I was burning. Be running around,
yeah,
screaming. One of my favorite scenes from Game of Thrones was in the beginning when Daenerys first walks into the fire of Khondrogan, but she has the witch tied to it, and the witch is like, "I'm not going to scream," you know, like this. And the second the fire hits her, she screams. I'm like, yeah, you can't help yourself when you're burning to death.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking, seeing that we have here's another interesting bootstrap, and that's that for all we know, the book was destroyed in the fire, and yet Letitia had it in her hands, and the book wasn't being destroyed by the fire.
Correct.
It's like a field of protection around it.
Yeah, I got you got that idea very quickly. I was like, oh wait, is the book gonna burn? And then it's like, oh, I guess the immortality or the immunity extends to what she's carrying.
Her clothes don't burn, so.
Right?
Her clothes don't burn. When she got shot at, you seen it was like going around her.
Yeah,
right.
There was like some sort of magnetic field that pushed the bullet around her.
But I was thinking that the implication there could have been that although the house burned, the book didn't burn, and the book was buried there somewhere under the house, you know, in the rubble of the.
Well, she brought it back, didn't she?
Well, she did. I'm talking about before they went back in time to do it. Of course, now we bootstrapped it, so the book was removed from the house before the fire by.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm going to get to that. So like I said, there was a lot of great episodes this season, the ones that I like more of this, but there's a couple scenes that I really love in this episode, especially like the cinematography and just the beating, the music and the sound effects were really good. And I think one of those was I really liked, since we were talking about, I really liked Letitia when she's walking down the street and just the bombs are going off, and just that was a very well done shot. I thought it was very well. It looked very nice.
At that moment, I was screaming at the screen like, "Run! What the hell are you walking for?"
I know.
Run,
yeah.
You know?
Well, I kept yelling that too, except I was yelling it because the portal's closing.
Yes, right. Well, she doesn't know that.
Sweet time.
Yeah, but you would think that. Okay,
get back to the portal.
Exactly. It was
girl is sick.
By the time that they got to the house and the massacre started, it was nighttime, which means that Hippolyta was plugged up in there for hours holding that thing open.
Yes.
So think about that, you know, like run to the house or run back to the building.
Fortunately, they didn't really know how exactly it worked. And before we talk about one of my favorite scene of this episode, we have to talk about one of the most tragic scenes, I think, which is, so we find out, meanwhile, while Letitia's getting the book, Montrose runs off and Atticus goes after him, and we find was it Jimmy or Timmy? Jimmy? Or was it Timmy?
You remember names.
Tommy?
Thomas.
Thomas. Thank you. Sorry, it was Tommy. Thomas. We find out what, one of the biggest traumas and reasons for, Montrose's life is that, he unfortunately, somebody he really cared about was shot right in front of him. And so I think that was a very important scene. And I think that, was very, very it's very hard to watch at times, but I think it meant a lot.
Not just that he was killed in front of him, but he was killed in front of him after Montrose had told him to go away because he was a faggot.
Right.
And
yeah,
the timing of making that kind of a decision, which he's regretted his whole life,
Right.
and then having any take backs cut off, right? And of course the fact that when they surrounded him, he reached out and they held hands.
Right. And then
that was awful.
And then they shouted the N-word, F-word, and then they shot him.
Yeah.
So, which is just icing on the shit cake. And so that was a very rough scene. But then I do like, which actually this next part means a lot for what this whole episode was about, in that this mysterious stranger in the story, we find out is Atticus.
Right.
And so Tick runs in there with the bat, and it's a beautiful scene. I love that scene. I thought it was very well done.
This is the same line that Jackie Robinson said to him in his dream. I got you, kid.
Yes, I got you, kid. Which I love that, and it's a great line, and it's very cool, and it actually sets up though that, from what I understand, this is going in that school of time travel theory. Well, they were always meant to go back. In the original timeline, Atticus is there, meaning that this loop is part of the original timeline.
Right.
As in that originally, when Montrose was a kid, Atticus did show up, and they did get the book, and that's the same timeline that they went back to, and so they just fulfilled the prophecy sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm confused about that too.
Time travel confusing, yes.
That's called a bootstrap paradox. It's
right.
Lifting yourself up by your own bootstrap.
Right.
It's going back in time and having sex with a woman who turns out to be your grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
right, saving
you're creating an endless loop. That
saving your dad and questionably your dad at the same time.
I will tell you guys about a movie you guys should watch. It deals with this time travel paradox. It's called Predestination. It's a really great movie.
Check it out.
Check it out. Ethan Hawke is in it.
Well, the best time traveling movie that I know of is Primer.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
I need to watch that.
I think Primer deals with time travel in a very realistic.
Crawl in this box.
Well, that's the caveat, which is really interesting. You have to get in the time traveling box for as long as you want to go back in time.
Right.
So if you want to go 6 hours back, you have to be in the box for 6 hours. Back. And the box,
so like no going back millions of years.
Right. Well, the box can't take you back any farther than the box existed. So you can win the lottery, because you can you can get past the lottery and then go back before the lottery, but you can't go back to the Stone Age.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was a really good episode. The acting was all great, and Hippolyta's hair turned blue.
Yes, that was funny.
Which will start a trend.
Blue hair's already a trend. Blue hair is already a trend. So that was a really interesting way of doing it. An interesting establishment that this is a fulfilling, self-fulfilling, bootstrap sort of paradox thing. Which is like, okay, well, that opens a whole can of worms.
Have you noticed too that some of these episodes, it's almost as if they cut the ends off the episodes, because I definitely expected them to come back through the portal and fix the girl somehow with the book, but they just came back through the portal and ended the episode. And now if our next episode comes in and they're just like, oh, everything is fixed.
Wait, didn't they?
No, they just came back through the portal, and that was the end of the episode.
Yep.
They did the thing with the maggots.
Back down to
that was earlier.
That was what Christina did.
Earlier, when she was in the bed, Christina came over and reversed it. Yeah,
and she looked
like maggots came out of
her hair all frizzed out with the little ponytails. And no, they just come back through. Letitia and
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Atticus.
Now, unless somehow Atticus, like when they come back, Atticus is beating over the book, or they go some other place besides the observatory.
Do we?
And they perform the spell that will heal her. He might come across something else that might help them, which might go into the end of the episode.
Do we know anything about the Book of Names? What it has in it? What it's for?
Spells?
It's spells written in the tongue that Adam first spoke when he was with God.
The language of Adam, yeah.
Those are the language of creation. When God told him to name the animals and name everything, he gave.
So if you have the original proper name of an object, you can command it.
Mm-hmm.
That's an ancient, belief.
That's like with demons and things like that. Oh, if you have the true name, you have power over it.
Oh yeah,
right.
A lot of that in the Dresden Files. So
yeah.
Well, it goes back to the legends of Solomon.
It's also
the key of Solomon.
Right, and exactly the key of Solomon, and the the Ars Goetica and all that. But then the best way to get somebody's attention is to tell say their full name.
Right.
Roger Michael Smith, and they're like, oh, how'd you know my middle name?
Yeah, but it's not just saying the name; you have to say it in a certain way.
Yeah, right.
Resonance to the name of an individual, and that will be their true name.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else about the episode we want to discuss? That was pretty much it.
Yeah, it was like, that's why I was saying like it wasn't like my favorite episode, because not a whole lot to really talk about. It was a good episode. There were things that needed to get done, but all in all, it was pretty short. I think next week is going.
It went rather quick.
We really didn't get what we wanted. We were hoping to see our George again, and we saw a child actor playing George.
Yeah,
right.
We didn't actually get to see George.
Right, and I think that he's going to stay there because Atticus has the book of the real Lovecraft Country book, where George actually lives. So this is an alternate dimension, or multiverse, or whatever. So,
Josh, you're quiet. Oh, there you are.
There we go. Yeah. I just wanted more George. That's all I wanted. Just
yeah.
George.
Yeah.
Just
have a spin-off. just George.
So, what do you guys rate this episode?
I'd give it at least a 7, 8.
I'd give it a 7.
It was satisfying. It gave me what I wanted.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I was saying this before we got on. If this was a standalone episode, like if this was the introduction to Lovecraft Country, I would be intrigued, and it would probably get a higher score. But next to the previous 3 episodes, which I think were the best so far, it gets a 7 for me. It's not
so far. The only bit of it that I've gone back and watched again was Hippolyta and the time traveling stuff. I thought that was so well done.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I really loved that episode.
I loved it.
The Korean episode was
really
by
good
far
too.
One of the best ones. And last week's episode was really good. It creeped me out. And I don't get creeped out very often.
Yeah.
So. I loved when Hippolyta showed up in this one. And she's like, well, we need to take her and get to the observatory. And Atticus is like, well, we wrecked the machine. It got destroyed. Yeah. She says, I can fix that in about 3 hours.
Yeah, that was great.
And that's why I liked it better. Like I was saying before, like it seemed like it's either her confidence as her personal strength, or it's because she's been traveling throughout time and space. She's built up this confidence. She didn't come in scared for Dee's condition. She was like, okay, this is what we need to do. We'll get her to the observatory, travel back into time. We'll get this book that you need to get. It'll take me 3 hours. Like she's got all this stuff calculated. She's not worried.
You know what I would start watching again if Hippolyta took over? Doctor Who. She would make an excellent Doctor Who.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, we've got some Doctor Who stuff here. The Bootstraps paradox, and time travel machines. Crazy hair.
Yeah,
what are we going to do? The planet's going to be destroyed by mecha monsters. And she's like, yeah, I got that solved in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
She's like the Dr. Donna, but even more.
Yeah.
She's the mother Dr.
She's got
Donna.
some mech going on now. So
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
She's not all doctor. She's not like Dr. Donna was still human.
Right, yeah, and I think I'll give this one a 7.5 or an 8. This is a really good one for me. I liked it.
Okay.
But it's still not as good as some of the other ones that I've given like 8 or 8.5s, but still really good.
That Korean episode was really, really good.
I think that was one of the ones I gave a 9 to.
Was like
it's the only one I gave a 10.
I was watching it and I felt like I was watching something totally different.
Yeah.
Then when Atticus came out, I was like, "Oh, I am watching Lovecraft Country."
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of it was all
in a
like,
good way.
Korean, and I was just like, "Oh, this is like interesting."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in Korean. It was in Korean, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I love that part. It was good stuff.
So funny with foreign movies. I watch foreign movies and I remember them in English.
What I liked about that particular episode too was like, and I guess we'll talk about this more next week when we do like our season finale review and then but what I loved about this was like this whole mystery that was building up, because you're like, all right, this beautiful girl, she's striking out at the dating thing or whatever that they do over there, and then her mom is just like pushing her out to see guys, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? And then when the other shoe drops, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome.
I kind of want to see Christina back in Artem walk up to the rubble of that house and go like that and have the house build itself.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, she doesn't know that spell.
Well, you definitely got the impression that it was her father's power that was sort of holding it all together.
Right.
So once he was dead, it all crumbled. But she could probably wiggle her nose or something. If she had the book of names, she could do it easily, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what she's looking for.
All right. So, Josh, did you give your...
Yeah, I did. I gave it a 7, but I have my
your
one
final
more
thought.
thing.
Okay,
yeah,
your final thought.
It's not.
It's now time for Josh's final thought.
It's one more thing. Josh is one more thing.
This is more. This is just so. It's coming up to the final episode. Next week's the finale, and because we'll be jam packed a bit next week, so I'd like to get this out now. Thanks to all the viewers and all your comments. It's actually been really nice chatting with people, and we've got a few new people. Hopefully, you can just check out the main show and stuff like that. That'd be appreciative. Even if you just drop a like or something, it shows. It helps us know that we're doing something right. And
tell us if you've really enjoyed us doing this, and if we should do this for other things too. And
suggestions as well.
Yeah,
that's the best.
Because there's a lot of good, scary stuff out there.
Yeah, and I've been enjoying doing this. I'd have
a lot of good, scary stuff.
But yeah, that is my one more thing. It's just thank you to the people who've been watching this, and just thanks for the support, everyone.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. We are Into the Darkness. We constitute a large group of friends from around the world that play a game called Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. You can find us at intothedarkness.club. We play Tuesdays through Fridays. We play a couple of hours each night, and we post the videos on YouTube. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members. You can set up a private game. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. The link is below. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Riley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.